Hosted in conjunction with Chris Media, the CEO interview series allows investors to hear directly from the CEOs leading the companies featured on Wholesale Investor. Enjoy the interview and reach out via the details in the description.
Hi, and welcome to another Crisp TV Q&A. Today, our guest is Travis Clark, Managing Director of Marketech. Thank you for joining me, Travis.
Thank you, Rhythm.
Now, to begin with, could you give us an executive summary of Marketech?
So Marketech is a technology firm first. It's built a live market data scanning engine, and that was based in the cloud so that we could deliver it full function on mobile. So it's effectively a market-facing tool for a client to use when they're looking for serious access to the market that they're looking at. The first thing that we connected it to was the ASX. So there's now 1.4 million people in Australia that are trading online, so it was quite a large audience for us to look at. But it could theoretically be a Forex trading platform or a crypto trading platform. But effectively it's built based on the format of a professional trading platform. So it would be the sort of thing that I suppose puts more tools in the hands of retail investors when they're investing on the share market.
Now, when you founded Marketech, what was the problem that you saw in the market that you addressed?
So I'm the managing director. We took over in 2019. Marketech had actually been going for a number of years. It had built previously built a platform for CFD trading. And then in 2014, they retooled to a new professional grade trading platform for retail investors. At the time, and probably until now, there's only ever been one serious active trading platform that has a virtual monopoly in Australia. And the problem that we saw was that it was very, very good in the high-level professional platform, which was software-based and did all of the computing on a PC. But of course, since 2014, we've had the cloud computing come along, and we've had mobile phones. And so to move a large tech stack from an audience into the cloud so that it could be mobile was a problem. We obviously started in the cloud and built it for mobile. So now we're delivering something that wouldn't previously have been possible before the cloud.
Amazing. Now, can you tell us like a differentiating factor about your product that makes you unique from your competitors?
So we see quite a few things. Probably the fact that the retail brand for this ASX trading, Marketech Focus, we've been able to deliver a product that's both inexpensive and high function, whereas previously people had the choice between one or the other. So you could either pay a large amount of money for a serious trading platform and then a large amount comparatively for brokerage. We saw a way of owning the technology, which then meant that we only had to make one profit margin. So instead of having to profit on both the brokerage and the platform, we just profit on the platform, which means that our job is to really make the platform better and better, not to try and get you to trade more. So that means there's quite a few differentiating factors. Because we're not concerned about brokerage volumes, we were able to connect services that had no additional I suppose, value to us. That meant that we could enhance the value of the subscription. So we connected things like ShareSite for tax reporting. We're the only online company in Australia that allows people to trade on the National Stock Exchange, the NSX. And I think that was a volume-based decision for a lot of companies because it doesn't currently do a lot of volume. And whereas we were looking at it saying, well, we're a tech company, so we can just connect it, and it was quite simple to do. That really should have, I suppose, allowed us to put our foot forward as a tech company and not another just stockbroking company. But as a sort of a default, it also means that we're the only company in Australia that I know of that is not conflicted on brokerage. So the conflict that the Hayne Royal Commission brought up was about, I suppose, transactional payment systems, so that when you transact on the shares, the company makes money. So then by definition, a conflict arises whereby people start wondering whether the transaction is being sort of recommended purely for the transaction's sake, whereas we just sit back and say, we don't care whether you trade or not. That'll also mean, I think, in a market where the volumes are much lighter, that we're not anywhere near as affected as, say, a company that relies on large volumes of trading to make their money. So.
Amazing. Now, can you tell us about what the market feedback has been about Marketech?
So we We hounded Finder for a long time to get a good review. I think the initial problem was that we were being bundled in with the low-cost brokerage suppliers. Because we were a low-cost brokerage platform, they were looking at our delivery and saying, well, in comparison to the other low brokerage platforms, it's hard to use, and it takes a bit longer to open an account because we open a Macquarie Bank account, not a pooled trust. We recently had a update to that where they finally I suppose realised what we were trying to achieve, which was trying to put professional tools in traders' hands. So it's not that it's not for first-time traders, but first-time traders will often come into the market and they don't know what they don't know, and so they don't necessarily immediately understand the data that we deliver in the platform. Whereas someone who is a more professional or a more serious or active trader, they won't be able to do without it. So the feedback that we look most favourably upon would be client feedback. And it's been tremendous. I don't know what the attrition rates for other broking firms are, but ours, I think, has been so low as to barely even rate a mention. They come in, they ask for what they want us to build, we build it, they thank us for building it, they come up with new ideas, we build those. So we're now on to our 9th platform rollout, and yesterday when we were at the seminar, I saw we had a client that sent through at least an A4 length thank you to our client services team, because the features that we just rolled out were quite important to him. And of course, I think a lot of times people will go back through client services and ask for something and get lip service, whereas we've been able to deliver everything that they've asked for.
Yeah.
So we're pretty happy with that. We also got a big pat on the back. A industry stalwart by the name of Marcus Padley runs a newsletter called Marcus Today. He's been in the industry for 30 or 40 years, I believe, and he's one of those sort of respected big names. So he's up there with the Alan Kohler's of the world. He now refers all of his clients to us because he believes that the fact that we've got HIN-based broking with a Macquarie Bank account connected to it, and we're fee for service. So he sort of was a nice little pat on the back for us.
Brilliant. Now, let us talk about the team at Marketech. Sure. And the skills and abilities that, they bring, and also yourself that you feel would allude to the success of the venture.
Yeah, look, my only real skill when I joined Marketech was that I'd stared at a Iris professional platform for 13 years. And so I knew exactly what the differences were. When I left full service broking, I went and opened up an online account like 1.4 million other people have, and immediately just was flabbergasted that anyone could trade shares. After having seen what we'd had as a professional company, the gap between what a professional has and what a retail investor typically has was it was so great that I didn't trade for 2 years. So when we found Marketech and they'd already built the platform, we realised that the skills that had brought that platform to life were the tech team that had built it. Yeah. So we joined up with two what would appear to be incredibly highly skilled developers who've built the platform from scratch, built it in the cloud, built it for mobile, and didn't have a financial background, but understood how, as a non-professional, how to take high-level function and data and turn it into something that is easy to understand. Because one of the big hurdles for people using a professional platform is that there's so much data, but if you don't understand what it means, then it's virtually unusable. So they were able to sort of take the things that a professional has and then try and turn them into something that someone on the street could pick up and go, oh, that's what that does. And then they were able to work on it for 6 years untouched, and our job when we came along was to commercialise the product, raise some money for purchasing things like the ASX data royalties, connecting it to third-party settlement, getting the partnerships in place, and really, I suppose, delivering a brand and a live product. So yeah, really quite a small team. Everything else we systemised. So to be low cost, you have to build a lot of systems. We also wanted to focus heavily on client services. We didn't want to be another, offshore offshoot where people ask client services for help. And in the stock market where things move so quickly, we needed to come up with something that meant that they weren't sitting on hold or waiting for a response or getting a response that was wrong or even just not hearing back.
Yeah.
So we spent a lot of time in the early days building what I probably call a semi-automated client services, so that we still have people managing it, but the systems that we've put in place mean that each time they respond to a client, there's usually, I think we guessed that there's probably about 150 different questions that someone can ask about share trading. Yeah. And we wanted to make sure that each time that we came up with an answer, that was the answer that we were most happy with, so that we could use it again and again, so that then we could maintain a small team and stay low cost and still deliver a high level of service.
Brilliant. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, look, I suppose the team extends out to our shareholders. We were lucky that in Perth we don't have a huge venture capital group. Initially, our product came out and probably needed the funding at the time where everyone was chasing millennial investors, and it was millennial products and millennial platforms. And we came out with something that wasn't really for well, as I said, it wasn't not for the first-time user, wasn't not for millennials, but it was more serious, more active, more data, and a little bit more expensive than, say, the cheapest available. So we were lucky that we found some investors through Perth. Perth's a big mining community, so it was a little tricky to find tech investors in that environment. But yeah, we've got some very good founders. Some of the bigger names, Peter Cook, who founded Westgold, Metals X, and a number of other large mining companies in Perth. SG Hiscock, Melbourne-based boutique fund manager, Merchant Funds, who are a big fund out of Perth, and a gentleman by the name of Richard Farley, who's actually one of the dragons of Dragon's Den in the UK.
Yeah.
So we've got a few big supporters that have helped us through, which is obviously a tricky time to build a tricky product.
Absolutely. Now, Travis, as a parting question for the viewers watching this, can you let us know what are the 6 to 12 months milestones that you're looking to achieve?
Sure. I think now that we've built the product and know that it works and know that people like it, the choice that we've got now, we either go off and build that retail brand. To build that retail brand, it would require a large amount of advertising spend. The average number, I think, last year for the new platforms to spend on advertising was about $50 million. And so what that meant is that would create a lot of dilution for our shareholders. So what we've been looking for are incremental growth rather than sort of explosive growth. We still know that our future client is going to be there when the bear market gets worse. They were still following the market sort of probably before the GFC, so they're still going to be around. So there's no real rush for us to get in. So we wanted to protect shareholder interests by raising smaller amounts of money and slowly growing it up. But I think for the next sort of big step for us would be either we raise a large amount of money and do that sort of advertising push, in which case you'll see us on every billboard and every bus and at the football and every sporting event, or we'll look to white label our platform. And so by white labelling, it means then that we don't actually have to go and get people who've probably been at the same bank for 20, 30 years, who may not know that there's a better product out there, who may have looked at some of the other products and decided that they weren't suitable. We need to convince them that there can be something that's cheap and highly functional, or we can go and partner with their existing broker, and then their existing broker can offer it as an upsell. So all of the new platforms that have come out in the last sort of 2 years, they're all, I suppose, catering to a younger, sort of a simpler trading methodology. People who don't necessarily need, tick-by-tick pricing and full depth and access to the center point and all the high-level technical charts, but some of them might. And so what we would look at is possibly white labelling, whereby they just offer it to those people who would prefer, so that those people don't have to leave to go and find a platform somewhere else. So exciting times. We've also been looking, I suppose, at a number of different applications for the product. So we're looking at a product that it combines not robo-advice, but putting human advice into a platform, so that it would almost be like having a stockbroker in your pocket. When it's time to top up your BHP, for example, in the growth portfolio, you might get a mobile notification, open it up, and then decide to transact yourself. And that way, that probably expands our audience if we can build a product that offers almost full service broking to a retail cost-conscious client base, that expands our, I suppose, addressable audience out to every client of every retail stockbroker in Australia. Or we can build a platform for the retail stockbrokers to do that themselves. We can look at things like foreign exchange or crypto or international shares, or even doing exactly what we're doing here but in international markets. So because of the type of product that it is, and obviously during a poor market, the investment isn't made in technology that needs to be there for when there's a good market. So anyone that wanted to start building a platform like ours and troubleshooting it and making sure that it had sort of value should have started 7 or 8 years ago, and we're not aware of any. So we feel like we've got a bit of a free run out at this stage.
Excellent. Well, congratulations on the achievements to date, and I wish you all the luck with your venture. For the viewers watching this, we are going to have the details to Marketech's deal room at the side of the screen and in the description. And Travis and his team will be available to answer your questions. So please feel free to reach out to them. Thank you again, Travis, for joining me in this interview.